Hi everyone, you are welcome to today's lesson. So we want to look at a very critical topic which is highly applicable in today's world, considering the global issues that are taking place, okay, the global warming. So the main topic that we are looking at is air pollution. So now the simple definition of air pollution is that it is the contamination of the air due to the presence or introduction of a substance which has poisonous effects. Now, there are a lot of pollutants, there are a lot of substances that have got a poisonous effect that pollute the air. But in today's lesson, we are trying to look at the pollutants that are produced in a car's engine. Okay, so to do that, in my introduction, allow me to remind you that a car's engine usually uses petrol or diesel. Okay, so these are the ones that are used to run an internal combustion engine. Now, in petrol and diesel, there is, these are simply fraction of what we call crude oil. Okay, so now crude oil, we know it's a mixture of various fractions. There are some biological aspects, things that have decomposed for a long time and so on and so forth. So those things are in crude oil. So in crude oil, we've got what we call hydrocarbons. So there are hydrocarbons in crude oil. Apart from hydrocarbons, we also have some minerals like sulfur, okay, and a little bit of lead. Okay, so these are the things that are found in the petrol. So now what happens is, now these things, when they are burned, they have a problem. So for example, let's just talk about some of the pollutants now that are produced in the car's engine. So the pollutants produced in the car's engine. So pollutants produced as the engine is running, produced in a car's engine. Okay, so the number one pollutant is carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide, what happens is, because of the presence of hydrocarbons, hydrocarbons are simply organic compounds that are composed of carbon and hydrogen atoms in their molecules. So what happens is, if there is incomplete combustion, instead of producing carbon dioxide, what will be produced will be carbon monoxide. Okay, so carbon monoxide is a very dangerous gas. It has got toxic effects. For example, when it is inhaled, carbon monoxide is a toxic gas, and it has got bad effects on the health of human beings. For example, when carbon monoxide is inhaled by a person, it will go directly into the bloodstream, where it will combine with the hemoglobin, and when this happens, it reduces the oxygen carrying capacity of the hemoglobin. Okay, and when that happens, a person may experience suffocation, or if it's too much, the person may even die. I'm sure you've noticed these effects by those people that like putting braziers in their house when the brazier is not yet ready. Okay, so that is one of the toxic gases that is produced. Then number two, another toxic gas that is produced is the unburnt hydrocarbon. So unburnt hydrocarbon, okay, so these unburnt hydrocarbons, commonly known as soot, these are also very dangerous. Okay, so these are very dangerous. Then we have got the third one, which are the nitrogen oxides. So nitrogen oxides are also very dangerous. When inhaled, these, they cause irritation to the eyes and also the lining of the membrane. So these gases are very dangerous, all of them. Now, somebody might be asking, how about the oxides of lead? Because they are also very dangerous. Now, the oxides of lead, these, what they do is, when petrol is produced, they add some lead compounds. I think this one should be lead ethyl acetate. So when this one is added, it acts as an inhibitor to the production of lead oxides. Okay, so these are the many dangerous gases that are produced in the car's engine. Okay, so now what people have done, I'm sure you've noticed nowadays we don't have a lot of cars that produce a lot of smoke and all that. People pay carbon tax and all those things. It's because of these issues. So there is this gas, and this gas that is produced. So now people invented something known as a catalytic converter. Now, how does a catalytic converter help us? So a catalytic converter is the one that was introduced in order to help us to curb the problem that these gases produce. So now, a catalytic converter is simply an exhaust emission control device that reduces toxic gases produced by the car's engine into less toxic substances. So what happens is this thing here, it's fitted, okay? So this pipe connects to the engine, and this pipe here is the exhaust pipe that we see in vehicles, okay? So that is how it is connected. Now, this catalytic converter is made up of some rare metals like rhodium and palladium. Okay, so these are the ones that act as the catalyst. A catalyst is simply a substance which speeds up the rate of a reaction. So it speeds up the rate at which these conversions happen. So in the catalytic converter there is what we call redox reaction. So in this first chamber there is reduction, in this first chamber there is oxidation. So by definition, reduction is the removal of what? Oxygen, whereas oxidation is the addition of what? Oxygen. So these are the ways in which a catalytic converter helps to convert these guys. So to have the details, let's look at the reactions that happen in a catalytic converter. So reactions in a catalytic converter. So reactions, how does the catalytic converter really achieve this purpose of it not allowing these guys to escape? So what happens is the first type of a reaction that we have actually is the reduction of what? Nitrogen. So nitrogen oxides are a lot, but the most common type is the nitrogen dioxide. So now, for example, here we are saying the first one is a reduction reaction. Okay, so reduction reaction. So what happens during the reduction reaction here is the nitrogen dioxide that has been produced here is actually converted. So this is a gas, is reduced, okay? It is reduced into nitrogen, which is a gas, and oxygen, okay? So now, look at the nitrogen dioxide, which has been produced here, is toxic. So now what happens when it goes into the reduction chamber here, it is reduced into elemental nitrogen and the oxygen, of which these gases are part and parcel of the air, which are not toxic to us. So this has been now detoxified. So once detoxified, it will be allowed now to go out of the vehicle via the exhaust that we see. The second thing that happens is actually an oxidation reaction, which happens in the second chamber. So oxidation reaction. So oxidation reaction here, like I said, due to incomplete combustion in the car's engine, carbon monoxide is produced. So carbon monoxide, what happens? This carbon monoxide as a gas, it is oxidized. So oxygen is added as a gas. Then what we are going to have is the carbon dioxide gas. So always ensure that your equations are balanced. So maybe we put a 2 there, carbon is 2, so we also put a 2 there so that we have 4, okay? Now it is balanced. So it is balanced. So this is what happens. The carbon monoxide has been produced, has been converted to what? Carbon dioxide. Now someone might wonder, isn't carbon dioxide also a pollutant? The answer is no. Carbon dioxide is not a pollutant. A person also produces carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide is needed by a tree. Trees, they make their own food using carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is not a pollutant per se, but it has its own side effects. For example, it contributes to global warming. But the solution is very simple. Just practice afforestation, just by planting a lot of trees. So this one is not really one of the pollutants. Okay, so the third conversion that happens is also an oxidation, where the soot, for example, we can get methane, which is also a gas, okay? So methane is a gas, and this one, when it is oxidized, now it is going to, when this one is oxidized, it will produce carbon dioxide gas and water, okay, as a liquid. So these are the things. I'm sure you've even noticed sometimes in the car's exhaust, some mechanics will say, akamotoka, this one is very very intact. It is even producing some water. So we've seen some vehicles produce a little bit of some water. So it is because of this action in the catalytic converter. So methane will react with the oxygen, then carbon dioxide will be produced, and the water. So make sure that you write equations that are well balanced. So this was it. So now this explanation was actually extracted from a past paper for GCE, which is science. So science paper 2 2017. Okay, science paper 2 2017 for GCE. Please check section C and question C3, and then when you answer that question, please submit your answers for confirmation. Thank you for your time. See you in the next lesson.